What's up, guys? Army-Firedawg back, and today is actually my review time of the biggest opportunity and the most humbling and honorable experience I've had. But it is the review of the brand newly launched Empire Ears, the Hermes. These are their two from their flagship top. These go for $1,000 retail, but I actually also opted in to have their BTG audio. This is a Starlight cable added onto it. And real quick before I get into the individual aspects of this, these are, one, my first customs, but two, I have never been as blown away. Like, these are by far the pinnacle of what I've been experienced with, regardless of price. But let's get into the individual aspects and let's figure out why these really are an amazing product, and one I am stunned that I was personally invited to take part in. But as always, let's start with the construction. So these are built with a very nice acrylic material, if you can see that, which if you put it in a cooler environment, it will actually get very cool in your ears and it feels quite refreshing. The back is actually wood. I am unsure if Empire Ears charges extra for this, but Jack emailed me asking that this is something they're wanting to start to implement, if I would be interested in trying it out. And I said absolutely. I'm a huge fan of wooden sound, just that natural and warmth it gives sound. I love that aspect, and I think this did give a slight hint to it, which I'll get into later. But I chose, they have a couple, like 5 or 6 different woods you can choose from. I don't exactly know which version this was. It was just gorgeous. The cables, well, I have both of them. I have the original cable that comes with it. It's just your standard 2-pin cable. And then I have the BTG audio, both of which are wonderfully well built. They're the same cables that are on the West Tones, and I've never had any problem with those cables, both in the durability, the entanglement, the longevity, comfort, everything. I've never had any problem with those cables, so huge plus for them implementing that. Also, it's not proprietary. If you were to break a cable or you just want to upgrade, you don't have to pay a premium, depending which one you get, on a proprietary cable. You can go to about any 2-pin cable and it'll work. Which brings me to the next point. The cables are detachable at the monitor. That is huge for me. That adds a massive influx to the quality, the craftsmanship, and the longevity of a product, and especially one of this price, dang well should be. Now let's talk about the comfort. Oh, they're custom. Their comfort's awesome if you put them in your ear correctly. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a couple minutes the first time I got these in to get them situated perfectly, and I'm still, it takes a little bit to get used to it. But when you put it in, you do have to make sure it's in there, as you can see. And that is actually a good thing and a bad. I've learned something I never thought, but if you so much as move slightly, you have to readjust these. They won't stay put. You have to readjust this. So if I yawn, if I turn my head, etc., the seal's broken. I have to spend however long getting that situated back in there. The isolation is top notch. These isolate better than anything I've ever possibly experienced, whether it be the universal in-ear monitors, with comply, without, whatever. These, I don't hear jack squat with these in, let alone when I have music playing. If these weren't so expensive, I would take these to the rifle range and see just how they compare with that. But I ain't gonna risk breaking these things. The cable sits behind your ear very well, so me with glasses, I never have any issues with. They sit on, they don't interloop, nothing. I have no issues with the comfort at all. I have slept in these, so I've laid on my side, nothing whatsoever either. Now, the most important aspect, I'm sure one of you all are very curious about, because I've been excited about these for a long while, and that is how do these sound. And I have got to say, these are just amazing. They're... Well, I digress real quick. When Jack messaged me asking, because he didn't say, oh, which model do you want to listen to, or here, let me just throw you a model. He asked me in the email, what do I look for in sound? What do I personally enjoy? So I said, I prefer a more neutral sound with a slight amount of warmth to it. And I said, for example, my Bowers & Wilkins P7 are my standard for consumer-based audio. The Oppo 1s, PM1s, are my standard overall for what I love in sound. And he said almost instantly that his Hermes model, which is his 6 drivers, he's have 6 drivers, would fit me perfectly. And after listening to them, they absolutely are. I mean, these are reference. Like I cannot hardly tell any bias whatsoever when listening to these. Now on here, I will separate it into 2 sections, with the BTG audio cable and with the standard cable. Because ever since I listened to Moon Audio's, they sent me the Black Dragon cable, and that's the only reason I opted into the extra expense of the BTG Audio Starlight, is I have firsthand heard the difference that a cable can make, and it is astounding. It's almost like putting on a brand new headphone. So let's start with the treble. The highs on the Hermes extends way far out. I mean, piercing level, but not artificially. For example, and you can YouTube this, it's called Diva Dance, and it's the song, if anyone watches The Fifth Element, the one alien blue singer, she sings. That's the song she's singing. It's called Diva Dance. Her tone goes way high, and on her highest peaks, they can almost be ear-quenching. On the standard cable, they get just right at that level where it's comfortable, but you're like, okay, it backed off at the perfect time. On the Starlight cable, no. These made it so much more accurate, as in they really went up there. I mean, she really peaked it. I don't necessarily think that's as natural. I think these on the treble were more natural in the higher treble, like the upper treble range. I think these were more accurate. But these accentuated the highs better. Now, moving on to the mids, which if y'all know about my favorite aspects, they're super neutral. They're clean. They're accurate. They sound exactly like I was listening to the artist. Like they were right there in front of me. Actually, on that note, I will digress real quick. The biggest, most instantaneous thing I noticed when putting these in my ear, regardless if I'm using the BTG audio cables or the standard, is the level of transparency that are present in the Hermes. I mean, when I'm listening to these, I could almost swear I am at the auditorium or the concert hall listening to the artists. There's so much air presence. Like I can hear, yes, the stereotypic, I've heard things I haven't heard before, but to a wonderful degree. The soundstage, which ties into the transparency, isn't as far out, like it's something to write home about, like the space and depth of the soundstage, but is magnificently accurate. Like I'm listening to a live recording of the Portico Quartet, and I believe the song was Lacquerboo, or even the first song, Window Glass, I think it's called, or Glass Breaking, something along that lines. It starts out the concert, and there's people chatting around you. Here, there's a woman talking about her taxes, and somewhere here, which is ambient murmuring, I made out, what's the show about? That's the only sentence I hear. But I remember she was talking about her taxes. You should download the album and listen to yourself. It's actually quite comical. I've only heard that twice on any headphone. One being the Hermes, the other one being the Oppo PM1s. So for those of you who are looking for a very enveloping experience, you should absolutely look into these if your budget can attain. Because again, these are an elite class products, being above $1,000. That's without any attachments. I think as is, these will run you about, including the ear molds and stuff like that, these will run you about $1,300. Now, getting back on point, going to the bass line. The bass on these is wonderfully tight, like almost on par with a planar magnetic, which I've never heard any bass tighter than a planar. That's just my new standard for how tight a bass should sound. But I don't hear hardly any decay on these. The bass gets very deep when it's needed. On that note, I also have to digress. These are very accurate in reference on the sound. For those of you who might know my sound partakes, I like more a very warm sound, which what I did say on here. Like my Bowers Wilkins B7s are much warmer in the upper mids and the lower mids and the upper bass line. It's not bass heavy, but I get a nice oomph or a nice central sound, which is wonderful to come home and relax to at the end of the day. These don't exactly get that. They give me sonic accuracy to a degree I've never experienced before, which is great, but not for what I want to relax and then just enjoy the music, not care about the nitty-gritty details, but these are good to enjoy. Now, to sum these up, they are truly a new standard for what I've heard in audio. They're very expensive. There's no mistake about that, but are they worth it? They absolutely are. I have heard multiple Elite Class Plus products in my years, and I'm still relatively new to the audio world. But these are definitely top tier. I have not heard anything better in the terms of detail reproduction and detail retrieval than the Hermes. So if you are one of those individuals who you want to get the absolute most out of your music, definitely look into Jack Vong and Empire Ears. You will grab all the detail you've possibly thought. Which brings me to a couple downsides, and they do exist in these. And that just goes with the territory of being in this price class. 1, they do not whatsoever play well with lower class audio files. If you are using anything less than FLAC, even some MP3 320s, you will hear static, you will hear the noise floor of your audio device, you will hear skips, or it is not like hiccups in your music, but in a sense of the audio engineer was counting on lower quality bass to kind of mesh the sounds together. Those will not catch that. They will catch the bass will hit and it will stop, and you will have a gap between the next hit. Secondly, you must have a good source. I'm playing from my LG G3 the majority of the time, and it's god awful for these. I'm hearing so much static, I hear so much hiss. It's just not a well pairing. So you need something that's super complementary to a very sensitive in-ear monitor. Jack has not released the frequency curve or the impedance or anything like that to anyone yet, so I can't tell exactly what that is, but I can tell you just from personal experience, my phone does not pair well. The impedance of my phone is a lot higher than what these things should go for. But guys, it's been one of my longer reviews, but there's a lot to these monitors. There's a lot to a custom and going to a product of this class that you should be aware of. There's many positive aspects, but just because you can afford a elite class product, there's more to come with it. When you're into this price range, you need to be aware of getting good sources, good files, and the impedance curve. But that's it, guys. That's all for the Empire Ears brand new Hermes. My name's Army-Firedawg. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button, guys. I greatly appreciate the support, and it's through your all support via both on here and on my HeadFi channel that I even got invited to participate in this. So thank you all so very much. It means a lot to me. If you have any questions or feel something I might have missed, or any questions about another product I've yet to review or you have interest in, hit me up in the comments, guys. I'd love to hear from you. In fact, tell me if y'all have an experience with customers yourself. Tell me about your gear. Let's compare. Let's start our own little conversation of different. What's the best thing you've ever heard? I'd like to hear from you guys. If you really like my content or would like to hear more about future endeavors I undertake, smash that subscribe button, guys. But as always, my name is Army-Firedawg. It's been a pleasure, but most importantly, stay safe.